Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. I was born into a large Italian family who had many traditions and many personality traits, and this is who molded me into who I am today. I had three grandparents that came over from Italy. They immigrated from Italy in the early 1900s. My grandfather, Pasquale, yes, I'm going to throw some names at you too. My grandfather, Pasquale, came from Naples. His bride, my grandmother Rose, came from Rome. And they fell in love in Italy. They got married. He came over to the United States, and he landed in, Ellis Island in April of 1908. His bride soon followed. He found work in New York and a home for them to live in. So they lived in New York for a few years, and then they went off to New Jersey. In New Jersey, they started their family. They had 13 children, and 9 of them survived. The middle child was my father, Mario Rocco Palmieri. My father was a character out of a Damon Runyon story, and if you don't know who he is, he wrote stories like Guys and Dolls. So after moving, my paternal grandfather, Pasquale, he came from Sicily. He arrived in Ellis Island on April the 23rd, 1901. He met his wife in New York City. My grandmother, Gladys, was a Native American and an Irish lady. So they married, and they had 20 children, and only 4 survived. 4 sets of twins died at infancy. Her youngest child, his name is Myrtle. Myrtle is my mother. My mother is still alive, and I'm really blessed to have her with us still. So my father's family really loved my mother. My parents got married in 1941. They had 5 children. I was the only girl and the middle child. And you ask if I was overprotective? Oh, that's an understatement. My father was so protective of his sisters that when they bought lipstick and perfume, he used to throw it away. So being an only daughter of an Italian overprotective father was no picnic, let me tell you. So my father's side had a bigger impact on my life than my mother's side. My father's side lived, they lived in a 2-block radius of where we lived. So my father was a contractor as we were growing up. And he built a lot of the houses on the street where we lived. And one of the houses that he was building, I decided I was going to go up the attic with him and go look around. Well, I took a flying tour of this house. I went from the attic through the second floor, through the first floor, down to the cellar, landing on the cellar floor. Went to the hospital. Luckily, I wasn't hurt. But I had a great time at the hospital because they let me watch Howdy Doody, laying in bed and watching their TV. I don't remember if they had a TV at the time. Shows my age. So my aunts and uncles lived very close to us. And they lived in a lot of the houses that my father built. And if they did move, they moved between 5 and 10 minutes away. So I was able to go to their houses and visit them a lot. And they were my salvation. So getting away from that strict Italian father. So my family had many traditions. We feasted on gravy, pasta and gravy with meatballs and bruschetta on Sundays. That was it. Sundays was macaroni day. I remember lots of parties. We had baptisms, and we had communions, and we had confirmations, and we had birthdays, and we had funerals, and we had weddings, and we had everything in between. There was always a party. It was a big family. Just as a side note, I just had a cousin party a couple of years ago. There was 50 cousins that showed up at the party, so it was big. So, and Grandma lived close by, so that was pretty awesome. Friday night was Scrabble night and poker night at my aunt's house, and I loved going there. There was lots of good food. There was lots of love going around, and there was just lots of good times. It was funny. They were funny. Well, I remember going there, and adults would be doing their things at that time, smoking and doing all their stuff, but I got to eat. So my Aunt Mary, who I loved dearly, she used to love to sit me on her lap. Put me on her lap, pinch my cheeks, Bella Mia, and call me by her pet name, which you're not going to get. So, my father's family was more of a backyard family. They were more quiet and reserved, had picnics and barbecues. In the summertime also, we went to a place called Matitacock, and I loved Matitacock because I loved the water and I loved to swim. My mother had two sisters. We called them the girls. They were always together, and they had this wonderful bond. They shared a strong bond, actually. My mother, at the age of 96 years old, is the caregiver for her 99-year-old sister, Kate. One of my biggest regrets is that I never had a sister. I have lots of sisters from other mothers, and I love them dearly, but it's just not the same as having your own sister, especially after watching my mother and their bond. There are many things from my childhood that I am grateful for. Growing up 2 blocks from the ocean, my big family and all the wonderful food and all the love. I'm grateful for my brother Patrick that I didn't mention before, but he passed away when he was 49, but he got cancer when he was 11. So I'm grateful that I had him in my life as long as I did. I'm grateful for all the lessons that molded me into the person I am today. I'm grateful for my mother, my aunts. I'm even grateful for all the lessons that I learned from my strict father. I'm grateful for all the good times and the bad times. I'm grateful for my story and for all the wonderful characters who played their parts so well in my life. And I want to thank you for allowing me to share my beginnings with you.